Hello. One thing that often surprises people in this country is that we are the Diocese of the United Kingdom, which, if you think about it, is a pretty large diocese. Geographically, yes, but obviously in size, we're a missionary diocese. We're actually quite small. But what people don't appreciate is that we are somewhat larger. We're actually part of the Anglican Catholic Church, which is much, much larger. It is, I think it is still the largest of the continuing Anglican bodies. Now, that leads to another sort of set of eyebrows being raised. Oh, are you an American church then? Well, I often wonder why people ask that, as if being American is somehow an unpleasant thing. Obviously it's not. But I think what we still have in this country is that there is a Church of England, and that sense of establishment and churches being part of the establishment are important. And seeing as there's that rather nasty business in 1776, one has to be careful. No, we may have our origins in the continuing Anglican movement in St. Louis in America in 1978, yes, but where did that church come from? That was part of the Episcopal Church at the time. Well, where did the Episcopal Church come from? Well, the answer is it came across, technically, Samuel Seabury got his orders from the Episcopal Church in Scotland. And where did that come from? Well, it came from the Church of England. So it all sort of filters back along the line. You have to, then again, if we filter back further, we can say, well, Roman Catholic, because it will filter through Rome, and then all back to Jerusalem, and so on and so forth. And it gets pretty messy. Indeed, you'll see these rather silly statements on social media that will say, oh, when was your church founded? Oh, you're Anglican, therefore your church was founded in 1534. You're not a real church. There's a lot of that about. Of course, we're a real church. Any church is real if it follows Christ. Our Lord Jesus Christ is the central focus of Christianity. And so for anyone to say, oh, your church was founded, well, if that church is centred upon our Lord Jesus Christ, then it was founded at the same time as everybody else's, wasn't it? So the same is true with the Anglican Catholic Church. If people say, oh, it's an American church, then they don't really understand the sort of continuing aspect of it. That we are continuing not only what the Church of England once believed and the Episcopal Church once believed, but we're continuing what the Tractarians of the 19th century were trying to do, and that is continue this thread, this doctrine, this truth that the Church has always had since right from the beginning. Being part of a wider church that's not very well known, we have a tension, because there is a tension between being parochial, i.e. for the parish or for the diocese, and there is also being provincial, looking to the province. And where should our focus lie? If we're small in this country, should we be focused in what's going on in America, or should we be focused on what's going on here? Indeed, should America be focused on what's going on in America, and should it worry about what's going on here in the United Kingdom? The trouble with parochialism is that we tend to lose sight of the bigger picture, and the tendency to look for the bigger picture all the time is that we miss the details of the small, the fine details. That's true much of what we have in life. There are those who concentrate on the greater things and forget the fine details. There are those who concentrate on the fine details and miss the bigger picture. And so I think even for all Christians there's this sense of sometimes using the microscope, sometimes using the telescope, and using the two. So what do you do then? It's a balancing act. Our church unity comes from the fact that all members of the Anglican Catholic Church hold to the same set of canons, have the same core values, the same core beliefs, the same standard of worship. And to lose those would be a sign of fracture. While we have that, we also have the bishops. Now, St. Ignatius of Antioch talks about the Catholic Church as being wherever the people are surrounding people are surrounding their bishop. And so there is that sort of sense of smallness, the parochiality. And there you have that sort of the mechanism by which we can see both small and great at the same time. We have one eye to the telescope and one eye to the microscope. We rely on our parochialism by being part of a diocese and viewing our bishop as the focus of unity, the place where we see Christ. And through our doctrine and what we have received through our standard of worship, do we see ourselves as part of the bigger picture? Every couple of years we have a provincial synod where we try and get delegates over to America usually. And that gives you that sense of the bigger picture, that there are others who are bound to us, and we to them. But neither of us, neither one province nor another can forget about one another. Those in America cannot, and I hope they don't, forget about us in the United Kingdom. Likewise, I hope that those in America don't forget about what's going on in our diocese in Africa, in Ghana, in Sudan, in South Africa, in Kenya. And likewise, hope those places don't forget what's happening in the Midwest or in the southern states. We are one jurisdiction, one province, and we have a small but growing province in the east, We have one diocese that forms part of the second province, which is growing. That's in Pakistan. So we really are a worldwide thing. We have the Philippines as well. We have a diocese in the Philippines, and I think that's wonderful. And again, you have that tension between the small and the large. Again, if we apply the same standards, it is the doctrine of the Church that binds it together, and it is the bishop that keeps us local. And that's the beautiful thing about an episcopal structure, having a bishop and, for want of a better word, a magisterium, a set of doctrine, the thing that the Church has always taught. And it also means we have a duty to pray for each other. And indeed our cycle of prayer does that. We read every Sunday throughout the week, we read of our brothers and sisters in different dioceses, as well as around our own diocese. So we are a church that, I suppose like any other of the Catholic churches, lives in that tension and thrives in it. And then we come on to you, don't we? Because you have to be part of the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church, don't you? And yet you are yourself in need of your own needs, because you're just one little human being. But you're connected. So again you've got this dichotomy between being yourself and being part of the whole. Well, how are you sorting that out? Are you in conversation with your bishop? Whatever. My prayers are for you, obviously, and my prayer is that you find in yourself a connection to the whole, and that you may be your own human being in amongst that oneness, that unity of the Church. God bless you as part of our Church, as my brothers and sisters. God bless you, and please pray for me.